The year is 2071, and I, Masahiro Tanaka, once the right hand of Neo-Tokyo's revered president Hiroshi Nakamura, now rot in a prison unlike any other. Suspended in a colossal shaft bored into the Earth's crust, this cylindrical hellhole dangles by a lattice of carbon fiber cables, swaying ever so slightly with the planet's tremors. The air is thick with the stench of sweat, rust, and despair. Every day, the prison sinks 5 meters closer to the molten heart of the Earth, a slow descent into oblivion. We, the 15 inmates trapped within its steel walls, have one chance each day to claw our way back toward the surface, toward freedom, by solving a task issued through a crackling intercom. A single task lifts us 1 meter upward. A rare, coveted challenge can hoist us 10 meters. But mistakes, they come with penalties, dragging us deeper. And then there's the red button, an emergency override that drops us 2 kilometers in an instant, where the air turns to fire and the temperature soars to 60 degrees Celsius. I was thrown into this abyss after the coup. President Nakamura, a man of vision who dreamed of a gleaming Neo-Tokyo, was toppled by a cabal of corrupt oligarchs. Vipers in tailored suits who now sip champagne in the skyscrapers we once governed. They framed me as a conspirator, a traitor, and sentenced me here alongside murderers, thieves, and dissidents. The shaft is their cruel invention, a punishment designed to break us physically and mentally. We started at the surface, but that was months ago. Now we hover around 500 meters below ground, a delicate balance maintained by our daily efforts. The group is a ragged mix. Ichiro, a wiry ex-soldier with a sharp tongue. Aiko, a soft-spoken engineer who clings to hope. Kenji, a hulking brute with a temper. And 12 others, each with their own scars and secrets. We've learned to work together, solving riddles, cracking codes, and enduring physical trials to keep the prison from sinking too far. But trust, that's a luxury we can't afford. The night it happened, I was restless. The hum of the shaft's machinery had become a lullaby, but something felt off. I lay on my cot, staring at the flickering ceiling light when a jolt ripped through the prison. The floor tilted, and a deafening groan echoed as the cables strained. Screams erupted from the bunks around me. I stumbled to my feet, heart pounding, and checked the depth gauge bolted to the wall. It had jumped from 502 meters to 2,502 meters, 2 kilometers. The air thickened instantly, a suffocating heat pressing against my skin. The temperature gauge blinked red, 60 degrees Celsius. Someone had pressed the button, or so we thought. "Wake up!" I barked, banging on the metal walls of the sleeping quarters. The others staggered out, bleary-eyed and gasping. Ichiro was the first to speak, his voice cutting through the panic. "Who did it? Who screwed us?" His eyes darted accusingly from face to face. Aiko clutched her arms, shivering despite the heat. "Maybe it was an accident," she whispered, but Kenji loomed over her, his fists clenched. "Accident? That's 2 kilometers of death, girl. Someone meant it." We gathered in the central chamber, a circular room with the task console at its heart and the red button glowing ominously on the far wall. Sweat dripped from my brow as I studied the group. 15 of us, and one, or more, had betrayed the rest. The heat was already unbearable, sapping our strength. If we didn't act fast, we'd cook alive. "We solved the task," I said, my voice steady despite the chaos in my mind. "We start climbing back, now." The intercom crackled to life, and a robotic voice delivered the day's task.
Construct a functional pulley system using only the materials in this room. 50 meter up upon completion.
It was simple enough, but the heat dulled our focus. Aiko took the lead, her engineer's mind piecing together scraps of metal and rope. Kenji hauled the heavier parts, grunting with every move, while Ichiro and I barked orders to keep the others on track. After an hour of fumbling, the pulley whirred to life, and the prison shuddered upward. 50 meters. A pitiful gain, but a start. The heat didn't relent. By midday, tempers frayed. Kenji accused Ichiro of slacking, and a scuffle broke out, fists flying until I pulled them apart. "Save it," I snapped. "We're at 2,501 meters. Fighting won't get us out." But the seed of doubt had taken root. Who had triggered the drop? Was it sabotage or a desperate act? I watched Ichiro closely. He'd been a soldier under my command years ago, loyal but ruthless. Could he have snapped? That afternoon, the intercom offered a second task, a rare one.
Disassemble and reassemble the console's core processor in under 10 minutes. 10 meters up.
We leapt at the chance. Aiko's hands trembled as she worked, guided by my instructions, while the rest of us held our breath. With seconds to spare, the console beeped, and the prison lurched upward. 2,491 meters. Progress, but the heat still clawed at us. We needed more. Then came the twist. The intercom hissed again.
New rule activated. For every inmate sacrificed, the prison rises 200 meters. Choose wisely.
A stunned silence fell over us. Sacrifice? Murder? The oligarchs had turned this into a sick game. Kenji grinned, cracking his knuckles. Easy, we pick the weak ones. Aiko paled, and Ichiro's eyes narrowed. I stepped forward, my voice cold. No one dies unless we all agree. We climb together, or not at all. But the idea lingered, a poison seeping into our thoughts. That night, the tension boiled over. Kenji cornered a frail older inmate, Taro, in the sleeping quarters. "You're dead weight," he growled, raising a fist. I tackled Kenji before he could strike, pinning him to the floor. "Enough!" I roared. Taro scrambled away, trembling. But the damage was done, trust shattered further. As I lay awake, the heat pressing down like a vice, I realized we couldn't hold together much longer. By morning, we were at 2,490 meters after another grueling task, a math puzzle that left us arguing over equations in the stifling air. The temperature hovered at 60 degrees Celsius, and dehydration set in. 2 inmates collapsed, their breathing shallow. We dragged them to the water tank, rationing what little we had. Ichiro paced like a caged animal, his gaze flickering to the red button. "We're dying here," he muttered. "One push and it's over." "Don't even think it," I warned, but his words echoed in my skull. Was he the one who dropped us? Or was it Kenji, eager to thin the herd? Aiko approached me, her voice a whisper. "Masahiro, I heard Kenji talking last night. He said we'd be better off with fewer mouths to feed." I nodded grimly. Kenji was a threat, but so was Ichiro's growing instability. The day's task was brutal.
Run a relay across the chamber 10 laps each in under an hour, 1 meter up.
In the heat, it was torture. We staggered through it, collapsing in heaps as the prison creaked upward to 2,489 meters. But the intercom wasn't done.
Bonus challenge. Eliminate 1 inmate, 200 meters up.
Kenji didn't hesitate. He seized Taro, dragging him toward the airlock. "He's useless!" he bellowed. Aiko screamed, and I lunged, but Ichiro beat me to it. With a swift kick, he sent Kenji sprawling. "Not yet," Ichiro hissed. "We decide together." The argument raged for hours. Taro sobbed, begging for mercy, while Kenji rallied a few others to his side. I mediated, barely holding the group together, but by nightfall, exhaustion won. We agreed, no deaths, not yet, but the mistrust festered. I caught Ichiro staring at me, his hand twitching near a makeshift shank. Did he blame me for our fall, for the coup that landed us here? Then it happened. A scream pierced the night and I bolted upright. Kenji stood over Taro's lifeless body, a bloodied pipe in his hand. 200 meters, he said, grinning. The prison shuddered upward as the system registered the death. 2,289 meters. Aiko vomited, and Ichiro lunged at Kenji, only to be restrained by the others. "You bastard!" he roared. Kenji shrugged. "Survival soldier, you'd do the same." The dominoes fell fast after that. Fear and desperation took over. 2 more inmates turned on each other, a frantic brawl ending in a second death. 2,089 meters. Then a third, 1,889 meters. Each kill bought us height, but the cost was our humanity. By dawn, only 6 of us remained. Me, Ichiro, Aiko, Kenji, and 2 others. The heat had eased slightly, but the air reeked of blood and betrayal. The intercom's final message came at noon.
2 remain. 1 must kill the other. 1,889 meters to the surface.
We stared at each other, the weight of it sinking in. Kenji attacked first, charging Aiko with a snarl. Ichiro intercepted, driving his shank into Kenji's chest. 1,689 meters. The others panicked, fleeing to the corners, but Ichiro hunted them down, a predator unleashed. 1,489 meters. 1,289 meters. Then it was just us, me and Ichiro. "You're next," he said, his eyes wild. I backed away, heart racing. "Ichiro, we can solve this together." He lunged, and I bolted for the storage locker, slamming the door behind me and locking it. He pounded on the metal, screaming threats, but I was safe, for now. 2 days passed. Ichiro prowled outside, his sanity unraveling. I rationed the locker's meager supplies, plotting my escape. Then a tremor shook the prison, and the depth gauge spiked to 3,289 meters. Ichiro had pressed the red button. The heat surged, and I gasped for air, clawing at the walls. In desperation, I triggered the fire alarm. A hiss filled the locker as extinguisher gas flooded in, cold, blessedly cold, but toxic. I held my breath, tears streaming as the temperature dropped. But then I faded to the screaming of Ichiro. When I woke up, it was cool. I stumbled out the storage room. Ichiro lay dead, his skin blistered from the heat. I was alone, 0 meters down, alive, but still trapped. The intercom crackled.
"Congratulations, survivor. No one pressed the red button that night, it was us. We are even now, I think."
The truth hit me like a punch. The 2-kilometer fall wasn't sabotage. The oligarchs had orchestrated it, a test to see who'd break first. I'd won their game, but at what cost? If you liked this story, drop a like and subscribe for more sci-fi stories in the future. If you want more now, check out the recommended videos.